Good afternoon and welcome to our special council meeting for Monday, September 22nd, 2025. I will call the meeting to order at 5 p.m. First item on the agenda item 1.1, Land Acknowledgement. The town of Coaldale acknowledges that we are gathered on the lands of the Blackfoot peoples of the Canadian Plains and pays respect to the Blackfoot peoples past, present, and future, while recognizing their cultural heritage, beliefs, and relationship to the land. The town of Coaldale is also home to Métis District 1 Foothills. Agenda item 1.2, Conflict of Interest Declaration, Pecuniary and Non-pecuniary. Are there any in the room this afternoon? None declared. Thank you. Acceptance of the agenda for the special council meeting for September 22nd, 2025. Were there any additions or deletions? I have one addition under agenda item 13.4, tax matter. Seeing no other additions, could I get someone to make a motion that council adopt a special council meeting agenda for September 22nd, 2025 as amended? Councillor Avery makes that motion. I'll call for the electronic vote. Motion is carried. Thank you. Moving on to business arising from the minutes, agenda item 6.1. We have our manager of bylaw and regulatory services, Mark Anderson, presenting on the automated traffic enforcement update. Mark, whenever you're ready.
Council was advised about the mailing of current automated enforcement violation notices and the direction from the provincial government not to mail them out due to the postal interruption that we're currently undergoing. Since that time, or at that time, you also asked me to follow up when other things came to our attention or things changed. And during this month, during the temporary mail-out prohibition, the City of Calgary and the City of Lethbridge both approached Court of King's Bench, and have obtained rulings from the Court of King's Bench which allow them to mail out those violation notices that they've been holding by different means. In short, they are allowed to send those out by a private contract. Calgary, I believe, is using a courier. Lethbridge will be, in the near future, sending out those violation notices through the Court of Commissioners. Their backlog is obviously substantial compared to ours. And this matter was brought to the attention of Rob Anderson, who is the assistant to the Premier and the man who provides us our direction on when we can and cannot mail. He is now re-examining the postal interruption because Canada Post has gone back to allowing them to do overtime, and the union is currently not doing flyer delivery, and Rob Anderson is seeking direction on whether or not that still constitutes a postal interruption. So as of today, I have not got an update today, but as of Friday, we have options to send them out either via courier, via Court of Commissioners if we want to, by obtaining a court order, which is a very short process, or once Rob Anderson is able to get back to us, we may be in a position to just use regular mail again, because the mail is not being delayed at all. And I'm here to answer you. If you have any other questions or whatnot, I'm happy to answer those for you this time.
Councillor Avery has a question or comment.
Thank you, Mayor. So I've got a couple questions, Mark, if I may. First one, what would the cost be to get a courier service or the Court of Commissioners to deliver these?
My information from Calgary is that the cost of the courier is pennies more than using the regular service. And City of Lethbridge already has a contract with the Court of Commissioners, so they'll just be added to their duties, and there is no additional cost. When Lethbridge spoke to me, they had inquired if it were possible they could send their notices that are for Coaldale, they would send them to us, and our unit would deliver them. And then likewise, if we were in the same position, we could send anything to them that was for Lethbridge, and they would serve them as well.
Okay. And the purpose of the photo radar, back when it was implemented, was for safety. In my mind, I don't really see the safety aspect of this, getting a ticket from May in October. So can you tell me what the benefit would be for us to pay to send these out 4 months after they were taken?
It's a loaded question, but in my opinion, it's still a matter of traffic safety. The people in violation, they need to know that they violated the speed limits. Not all, but some are considerable speeds. And you can't really isolate it between this speed or that speed. So I think if you're asking for my opinion, I think we should be sending them out. I think it's still part of that traffic safety program, and I think it still does have an effect on drivers' behavior. My observation since things haven't been going out is our speeds are going up. They're gone up on Highway 3 where we're not deploying, and they're going up on 20th Street a little bit since they're not seeing anything. It's not as dramatic in those areas because we were deploying right up until September the 6th.
Okay, and just my final question. What percentage of those tickets were given on 20th that was a school zone put into a playground zone? And now there's no school there, so there is a playground. How many would actually issued on 845?
I can't give you the exact number, but I can tell you it's about 50%.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Mark. Councillor Avery asked one of my questions, so I'm going to follow up with the amount of backlog time, given 4 months or potentially more, doesn't that open us up to more of a chance of people successfully challenging the tickets? Therefore, the cost and income ratio kind of gets skewed quite a bit there.
So the service of tickets is covered under PAPA,
Okay.
Provincial Offences Procedures Act, which allows for this particular circumstance, and that's why we can't mail them out, is because of the Judiciary Act and PAPA. So we are following PAPA by what we're doing now, and therefore they don't have a challenge to have those tickets thrown out because of the time of service.
Okay, thank you.
Deputy Mayor Reese.
Thank you, Mayor Van Rijn. I'd like to make a motion that council move to suspend the operation of the town's automated traffic enforcement program for the remainder of 2025 due to the town's ongoing labor stoppage. Further, the council reassess the long-term viability of the program in Q1 of 2026.
Thank you. Just before we entertain that motion, the tickets that are needed to be mailed out, the value of those tickets, net value?
Net value, approximately $60,000.
So $60,000 is a little over 0.5% residential tax increase.
That would be beyond my field of expertise.
Yes. So I'm still talking about the tickets, not the photo radar program as itself. So before we move on to Deputy Mayor Reese's motion, is there any more discussion on the first discussion point? Councillor Avery.
So just for clarity, are we going to debate the motion, or are we talking tickets to continue debating?
Well, we were talking tickets to begin with, so I would rather finish that topic first. So is there any more questions, comments on the actual tickets that need to be sent out? Councillor Avery and Councillor Chapman.
Thank you, Mayor. There's no more conversation, but I do want to put a motion forward, but I can't put my motion forward on the tickets until we deal with the motion that Councillor Reese has put on the table.
That's correct. Councillor Chapman, did you still have a question?
Thank you, Mayor. Yeah, Mayor, I guess just for clarity, just to ensure that the motion doesn't reflect the number or the suspending the tickets that have been issued since May. So I think that's just want to make sure I have clarity on that. So the tickets that have been issued already would not be part of this motion.
That's correct. Like, again, I just want to talk about because that's how the question came up first. So I wanted to make sure that everybody was able to make their point about the tickets themselves before we switch to the actual program. Okay, thank you. So I'll open it up to discussion, and Deputy Mayor Reese, if you could read that motion back one more time, please.
That council move to suspend the operation. The council moved to suspend the operation of the town's automated traffic enforcement program for the remainder of 2025 due to the town's ongoing labor stoppage. Further, the council reassessed the long-term viability of the program in Q1 of 2026.
Thank you. Any further discussion on Deputy Mayor's motion? Councillor Avery.
Thank you, Mayor. I'm going to be voting against this motion due to the fact that I think it should be suspended indefinitely, not with a date at the end of this year. I believe it's a decision that the people on this table needs to make to suspend it indefinitely. So I'll be voting against the motion.
Thank you. Any other further questions, comments? Seeing none, I'll ask for the electronic vote on Deputy Mayor's motion. Motion is carried. Back to the discussion around the tickets. Councillor Avery, you had something further to say?
Yes, thank you, Mayor. So I would like to make a motion that we suspend all the tickets that we have sitting and turn those into a warning notice so we can still send them out in the future once Canada Post gets their labor dispute worked out. But I don't think that there's any safety aspect in sending out $50,000 or $60,000 worth of tickets 4 months after they've been issued. We don't know when they were issued. We don't know the percentage when they were issued. Were most of them in May, June, or September? We don't know when the tickets are from. So I want to make that motion to suspend sending them out and to just turn them into a warning ticket.
Thank you. So if I capture the conversation, your motion would be that council is in the belief that violations for traffic offenses should be sent out in a timely manner. Be it resolved that council direct administration to convert the automated traffic enforcement violation notices that they have been backed up since June 2025 due to the ongoing threat of a postal interruption and the subsequent mailing instructions provided by the government of Alberta to photo radar providers into warning notices. Does that capture your intent?
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. I'll call for the motion on Councillor Avery's motion. Motion is carried. Thank you. Thank you, Mark.
Thanks, Mark.
Moving on to agenda item 6.2, the independent third-party review of town and AUPE compensation proposals, auditor reporting update. At this time, I'd like to invite David Burton, a partner with MNP LLP, to join us at the presenters table. Before David begins, I want to provide some background on how we arrived at this point and why council felt it was important to retain the services of an independent auditor. At our regular council meeting on September 15th, 2025, council passed a resolution to hire an independent third-party auditor. The purpose was to review both the town's most recent offer to AUPE and AUPE's most recent counteroffer, and to prepare a report showing the true percentage increases for each position. We also resolve that this report be made public to residents, council, and employees could all see a clear and independent breakdown of the numbers. Council also decided that the audit firm would be selected by a subcommittee of council made up of Councillor Jason Avery, Councillor Jason Beekman, and myself as mayor. Since then, a number of people have asked me why we felt this was necessary. The answer is simple: clarity and transparency. The union has been telling employees that the town exaggerated the 17% cumulative 4-year increase we said was offered, and they told the media that the numbers the town of Coaldale is posting just aren't true. Rather than going back and forth in a never-ending argument about whether the 4-year cumulative increase is 17% or not, council believed it was better for credibility and accountability to have both sets of numbers audited independently. That way, when there's a disagreement, everybody knows exactly what is being disagreed on. We're pleased that M&P LLP, a national firm, was able to complete this work in a time for tonight's special council meeting. For their review, we provided M&P with the following: the 4-year grid from the union's most recent counteroffer of June 24th, 2025, which they resent to us on September 5th, 2025. We also supplied the 4-year grid from comprehensive offer number 3, the same one that the employees voted on August 6th, 2025, and that was vetted and published by the Alberta Labor Relations Board. I also find it important to note that the town has not worked with M&P in the past, and no member of council or senior management has family connections with the firm. With that, I'll turn things over to David to walk us through M&P's findings. Dave, if I could get you to turn your mic on, please.
Thank you. Can you hear me?
Yes. Whenever you're ready.
Hopefully everybody has a copy of my report in front of them. Our report is actually a report on agreed upon procedures. Sorry, just some of them in the back. We have them in hard copy for people who are just waiting for it to come online here, I think. There we go. It is a report on agreed upon procedures on the proposed salary grid increases. Our report is intended solely for the purpose of assisting the council and subcommittee in determining the actual percentage increase in wages being proposed under the employee compensation offer number 3 dated June 16th, 2025. It may not be suitable for other purposes. I'm going to skip through some of the paragraphs here, but the council and the subcommittee have acknowledged that the agreed upon procedures are appropriate for the purpose of this engagement, and the Town of Coaldale Corporate Service Department, as identified by the council subcommittee, is responsible for the subject matter on which this procedures were performed. Further to that, I'm going to say that appendix, those of you that have hard copies, appendix A is some of our preamble. Appendix B is the schedule that we were provided with regards to the council's offer to the, sorry, no, I don't have it on there. No, it's not on there. Okay, no, that's fine. Sorry. Appendix B is the council's offer, and Appendix C is the union's proposal, I believe, dated June 25th, I think is what it was. It does say on the report. You should probably look. June 24th. So we conducted the agreed upon procedures engagement in accordance with the Canadian standards for related services, 4400. Agreed upon procedures engagement. It involves performing our procedures, the procedures that have been specifically agreed to with council subcommittee, and reporting on our findings. We have complied with the independence and ethical requirements of the rules of professional conduct, and we performed the procedures described below with which were agreed upon by the subcommittee, and the terms of engagement dated September 19th, 2025. I do want to refer to Appendix A for a second. If you refer to Appendix A, it just states that the Corporate Service Department of the Town of Coaldale provided us with preliminary schedules that listed 39 employees who were considered to be full-time employees. This report detailed individuals' current 2024 grid levels, classification and hourly salaries as per the union contracts, as well as the expected grid level and classifications that the individual is expected to fall in under the new proposed settlement offer. Included in this chart were also 6 additional people who were not employees at December 31st, 2024, but have been hired in 2025. These individuals have been included in our calculations as if they had been employees in the town at December 31st, 2024, and in the same grid level classification that they were eventually hired into. The above noted chart was used for the purposes of referencing the 2024 baseline for our calculations. We have not audited or reviewed the individual baseline information with respect to individuals. So, So, for example, if we were informed an individual was in grid level 13, classification 3, we did not go back into all the personnel files to prove that. That was taken as a fact. So I don't believe there should be any question with regards to that, but just so that everybody is aware. We did, however, compare the specific grid levels and classifications identified to the prior contract and found that the hourly rates that were presented were accurate. The calculation and findings referred to in this report are determined based solely on the proposed changes to the hourly grid and classification schedules. It does not take into account any other factors that may be included in the contract, such as sick leave, shift premiums, RSP matching contributions, medical, or other benefits that may have changed in the contract have not been considered. Okay. I'm now going to flip back to page 2 of my report, which lists the procedures that we did and our findings on those procedures.
And David, if I could just interrupt to make sure your screen keeps up to what you're saying, please.
Yes. Okay. So procedure number 1, we compared the December 31st, 2024 baseline wages to the anticipated wage for the same individual as at December 31st, 2028, after considering advances through classification listings as a result of years of service, but assuming that the individuals will remain within the same grid classification. So, for example, an individual that may have been in grid level 12, classification 2, by the end of the contract would be in grid level 12, classification 4. Okay, so that was considered in this, which would be years of service categories. Based on our calculation, changes in salaries on an individual basis range from 12.6% to 37.66%, with the simple average being calculated as 23.13%. Again, that does take into account people advancing in classifications. Procedure number 2, we compared the December 31st, 24 baseline wages to the anticipated wage for the same grid and classification level at December 31st, 2028, assuming that people would not move through classification levels. So again, this is comparing grid level 12 grid level 12 classification 4 to grid level 12 classification 4. Grid level 12 classification 2 to classification 2 in the final year. Based on our calculation, changes in salary based solely on the proposed schedule changes and with no change in classification levels range from 11.64% to 29.75%, with the simple average calculated at 18.65%. Procedure number 3, we compared the December 31st, 2024 baseline wage to the new base grid salary for December 31st, 2024, after the proposed market adjustments were made. Based on the calculation, the change in salary between the December 31st market adjustment chart and the December 31st existing wage chart ranged from 0.16% to 16.41%, with a simple average change calculated at 6.45. So that was the market adjustments. Procedure number 4. We compare the December 31st, 2024 updated grid schedule that takes into account various market adjustments to the final proposed grid schedule as at December 31st, 2028. Based on our calculation, change in salary between December 31st, 24 market adjusting chart and the December 31st, 2028 proposed schedule is 11.46% for all classification grids. This is based on the compounding of raises from year to year. You could not just, if you added them up, it says it would be 11, but because of compounding, it becomes 11.46. Okay. Procedure number 5, we compared the December 31st, 2024 baseline wages for the same individual as at December 31st, 2028, after considering advances through classification listing as a result of the years of service, but using the AUPE proposed grid schedule. So this is the exact same as number 1, but instead of using the town offer, this one is done using the AUPE request. Based on our calculations, change in salary on an individual basis would range from 17.46% to 47.18%, with the simple average change calculated at 30.46. Sorry, 49.49. Again, that includes people moving through classifications. Point number 6, we did the same procedure. We compared the December 31st, 24 baseline wage to the anticipated wage for the same grid and classification level as at December 31st, 28, per the AUPE proposed grid, assuming that people would not move through the classification levels. Based on our calculation, change in salary based solely on the proposed schedule changes and with no change in classification level ranged from 14.45% to 38.28%, with a simple average change calculated at 25.97. Again, point 6 would be the same procedures as were compared to point 2, except point 6 uses the AUP grid rather than the town offer. Point 7, or procedure 7, we compared the December 31st, 2024 base salary for seasonal employees under salary grid 2 classification level 1 and 2 to the new proposed grid as at December 31st, 28. Based on our calculation, the change in salary grid number 2 classification number 1 was 12.28%, and classification number 2 would have been 11.3%. That was simply, there are a limited number of people in that category, so that one was kind of done separately. So these are just mathematical preparations and factual statements. We do not express any opinion on anything. Once again, and I apologize I didn't put it up earlier, there is Appendix A. Some of you have it in the back, which lists the where some of the information was received from. I don't have it on my screen, but you also have Appendix B and C, which is the town offer and the AUPE request, which were grids which were provided to us so that everybody can compare what grids were. Oh, thank you.
At this point, I'll open it up to members of council. Any questions, comments on the information provided? Seeing none, I'll let you continue on. Okay, so Appendix B, are we going to go through any of those charts? Or?
The Appendix B is, give me 2 seconds, I can pull them up. Can we shut the screen off for a second? Can you turn my screen off for a second? Yeah. I'm just going to load up a couple more schedules. Thank you. So these charts here are what you're seeing as Appendix B, and everybody, the people that have hard copies, these are the proposed salary increases from the city or town. Sorry, from the town. And there is also, again, I wasn't going to go through every line of those. There is also the Appendix C, which everybody has hard copies, hopefully, of. We do have a chart, and this is where our work is done, showing this. This is not does not form part of our final report, but is the various calculations that were done to show the averages for each procedure, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. My understanding is the city has asked if they could put a similar type chart on their website or something, and there is no objection. They're mathematical calculations. The city can do, or the town can do that. Sorry.
Thank you. Councillor Beekman.
Thank you, Mayor. First off, thank you for getting this assessment to us in such a timely manner. Very well detailed. I just want to clarify something that is in Appendix A. It says it pretty clear, but I just want to, kind of say it out there on the record. So this assessment, it only includes base wages. It doesn't include what's considered a rollback or a benefit addition, correct? This is just base wages?
Yes, this is just the base wage grids.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions, comments? Well, thank you, David. Lots of information to digest. And this document that you sent us, would you be able to send that electronically as well so that we could share it with AUPE, please? Thank you. Seeing no more questions, could I get someone to entertain our motion options, please? Councillor Beekman.
Sorry. Yeah, I'd like to make a motion to receive the third-party review of the town and AUPE compensation proposals as information.
Thank you. Any further discussion? I'll call for the vote.
Apologies, Mayor. Could council vote with hand for this one item?
Yes. I'll call the question. All those in favor? Carried unanimously. Thank you. Moving on to agenda item 7.1. Thank you, David. Moving on to agenda item 7.1 under bylaws and policies. Road closure bylaw 925-P-09-25. We have our Director of Growth and Investment, Deputy CEO, Cameron Mills, presenting. Cam, whenever you're ready.
Thank you very much, Mayor Van Rijn. The purpose of this report is to consider first reading of road closure bylaw 925-P-09-25. This is with respect to a portion of road allowance within the North Industrial Area Structure Plan. It is the first time the matter has appeared before Council. Issue being addressed through this bylaw, very similar to what was considered at the previous Council meeting with respect to road closure within the industrial area. The town administration has determined the current road network requires realignment in order to facilitate orderly development of the industrial lots, resulting from the recently developed rail spur development within the North Industrial Area Structure Plan. Notably, administration has been working with the developer and potential clients on a project to develop lots bordering Highway 845 north of 12th Avenue. These lots also border the road allowance for 19th Street, which is to remain undeveloped for the foreseeable future. In reviewing the proposals, administration has concluded that the orderly development of the area would be better suited by closing 19th Street north of 12th Avenue and instead consolidating the land into adjacent parcels. The primary reason for doing so would include, first, that 19th Street north of 12th Avenue is unlikely to be developed in the near term. Second, that 19th Street is not necessary to support the development of the northern portion of the quarter section, whenever that may occur. The newly aligned road created north of the New Cold lot in the approximate center of the quarter section is sufficient for providing this level of connectivity in line with the existing industrial park in the adjacent quarter section, which is to say it would provide for a similar amount of north-south connectivity as what is found in the existing portion, the older portion of the industrial area. Third, closing the road allowance and allowing businesses instead to use this area as an entrance and exit from their lots limits the need to allow traffic to access these lots closer to the Highway 845 intersection. Administration believes this will provide for smoother and safer flow of traffic, particularly as it relates to heavier vehicles. So in this particular case, to expand upon that point, there is a development proposal in place for a fairly substantial truck and trailer tire business that would be going there to service the logistics industry within the park. And by doing the road closure and allowing the building to be oriented further to the east and for addressing those potential setbacks will allow for access to the parcel to be pushed further away from the Highway 845 intersection, which administration believes would be beneficial to improving the potential safety and traffic flow in that particular area. With that, happy to answer any questions council might have. I will point out that we will be having a public hearing on this matter at the October 6th, I believe, council meeting in this particular case with the opportunity to present first reading at the special meeting. We felt it was appropriate to get that in place and allow us for contemplation of first reading prior to that public hearing.
Thank you. I'll open it up to members of council. Any questions, comments? Seeing none, could I get someone entertained to make a motion that council provide first reading to road closure bylaw 925-P-09-25 and proceed to the public hearing? Councilor Pickering makes that motion. I'll call for the vote. That motion is carried unanimously. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
And I'd just like to return to the previous discussion. I would like to propose an amendment to Councillor Beekman's motion. So, point of order here. Our municipal clerk, if I want to suggest making an amendment to that motion, the first motion was passed. Could we make a second portion to that one?
If a motion has been passed, then it has been passed. You can make another motion.
Yes, that's what I'm.
Yes.
Okay, so then what I'm proposing, if Councillor Beekman wants to entertain this, that further to his original motion, a separate motion that council direct that the results of this audit be published under the collective bargaining frequency asked questions segment of the town's website, including the spreadsheet that shows how much on a percentage and dollar per hour basis that each position wage would have grown by had comprehensive offer number 3 being accepted by the union and the town's unionized employees. Would you accept that to make that motion? Councillor Beekman? So Councillor Beekman will sponsor that motion. Any further discussion? Seeing none. Oh. Councillor Avery.
Thank you, Mayor. Just for clarity for myself, I don't understand the benefit of that. We've already posted a lot of stuff on our town website already. And just to put the same information out, it's a little bit repetitive. I just don't understand what's the benefit of us putting this onto the website now.
So further to the original discussion about full transparency, we have a room full of people here. We have a few people online, I'm assuming. But for people that want to see what was discussed and have something in front of them, they don't have this paper handout, I would suggest that we put this under the frequently asked questions so that people can be directed to that location. Thank you. So one more time, Councillor Beekman, you're okay with that motion? I'll call for the vote. And that motion is carried unanimously. Thank you. So that concludes the open portion of the meeting. I will require a motion at 5:40 p.m. that council move into closed session in accordance with section 197-4-B of the Municipal Government Act to discuss matters exempt from disclosure for items 13.1, 13.3, and 13.4, subject to section 19, business interests of a third party. Items 13.1 and 13.3, subject to section 30, disclosure, harmful to the economic and other interests of a public body. Items 13.2 and 13.3, subject to section 32, privileged information. Who cares to make that motion? Deputy Mayor Reese. I'll call for the vote. That motion is carried. Thank you. We'll take a 10-minute recess.